come to podium and verses to recite verses 46 through 51 of Surah. Inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
ثم هم يصدقون قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله بغتة أو جهرة هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مؤمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم فمن آمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون والذين كذبوا بآياتنا يمسهم العذاب بما كانوا يفسقون قل لا أقول لكم عندي خزائن الله ولا أعلم الغيب ولا أقول لكم إني ملك إن أتبع إلا ما يوحى إلي قل هل يستوي الأعمى والبصير أفلا تتفكرون وأنذر به الذين يخافون أن يحشروا إلى ربهم ليس لهم من دونه ولي ولا شفيع لعلهم يتقون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
پناه میبرم به خدا از شر شیطان رانده شده. بگو به من خبر دهید اگر خداوند گوش و چشمهایتان را بگیرد و بر دلهای شما مهر نهد که چیزی را نفهمید، چه کسی جز خداست که آنها را به شما بدهد. ببین چگونه آیات را به گونه‌های مختلف برای آنها شرح می‌دهید، سپس آنها روی می‌گردانند. بگو به من خبر دهید اگر عذاب خدا به طور ناگهانی و پنهانی یا آشکارا به سراغ شما بیاید، آیا جز جمعیت ستمکار هلاک می‌شوند؟ ما پیامبران را جز به عنوان بشارت دهنده و بیم دهنده نمی‌فرستیم، آنها که ایمان بیاورند و خویشتن را اصلاح کنند. نه ترسی بر آنهاست و نه غمگین می‌شوند. و آنها که آیات ما را تکذیب کردند، عذاب پروردگار را به خاطر نافرمانی‌ها به آنان می‌رسد. بگو من نمیگویم خزاین خدا نزد من است و من جز آنچه خدا به من بیاموزد از غیب آگاه نیستم و به شما نمیگویم من فرشته‌ام، تنها از آنچه به من وحی می‌شود پیروی می‌کنم. بگو آیا نابینا و بینا مساوی‌اند؟ پس چرا نمی‌اندیشید؟ و به وسیله آن قرآن کسانی را که از روز حشر و رستاخیز می‌ترسند بیم ده، روزی که در آن یاور و سرپرست و شفاعت کننده‌ای جز او ندارند، شاید پرهیزکاری پیشه کنند. درست گفت خداوند بلند مرتبه. صلوات.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Say, tell me, should Allah take away your hearing and your sight, and set a seal on your hearts? Which God other than Allah can restore it for you? Look how we paraphrase the signs variously. Nevertheless, they turn away. Say, tell me, should Allah's punishment overtake you suddenly or visibly, will anyone be destroyed except the wrongdoing lot? We do not send the apostles except as bearers of good news and warners. As for those who are faithful and righteous, they will have no fear, nor will they grieve. But as for those who deny our signs, the punishment shall befall them, because of the transgressions they used to commit. Say, I do not say to you that I possess the treasuries of Allah, nor do I know the unseen, nor do I say that I am an angel. I follow
Thanks to Brother Said Murtaza Nazari, Aghay Malakuti, and Brother Zain Shah for a citation of Quran and the two translations. On the second session of tonight's program, as I mentioned, from the brother's side, Brother Abbasi has prepared a Farsi poem. از محترم آقای عباسی خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و شعر را که تهیه کردند به سمع شما برسانند. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد.
سلام علیکم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. سال روز جانسوز شهادت 11مین اختر فروزان امامت و ولایت حضرت امام حسن عسکری علیه السلام را به شما خواهران و برادران تسلیت و تعزیت عرض می کنم و در عین حال آغاز امامت حضرت حجت ابن الحسن را تبریک و تهنیت عرض می کنم. صلی الله علیک یا حجت ابن الحسن، صلی الله علیه یا حجت ابن الحسن، صلی الله علیک یا حجت ابن الحسن. دارد زمان آمدنت دیر می شود، دارد زمان آمدنت دیر می شود، دارد جوان منتظرت پیر می شود. وقتی به نامه عملم خیره می شوی، وقتی به نامه عملم خیره می شوی، اشک از دو دیده تو سرازیر می شود، اشک از دو دیده تو سرازیر می شود. مهدی جان، کی این دل رمیده من، کی این دل رمیده من زهیروار در دام چشمهای تو تصویر می شود. این کشتی شکسته طوفان معصیت با ذوق دست توست که تعمیر می شود. مهدی جان، حس می کنم که پای دلم لحظه گناه با حلقه های زلف تو درگیر می شود، در قطره های اشک قنوت شب شما عکس ضریح گم شده تکثیر می شود. تأثیر گریه های غریبانه شماست، دنیا غروب جمعه چه دلگیر می شود، دنیا غروب جمعه چه دلگیر می شود. به سوی من نظر بنما، شب تارم سحر بنما، به این محفل نظر بنما. بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی. فراغت کرده دلگیرم، از این جان و جهان سیرم، ز دوری تو می میرم. بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی. نشستم من به راه تو به امید نگاه، خبرداری تو ای مولا ز ظلم و کینه اعدا، شکست پهلوی زهرا جهان گشته پر از غوغا. بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی، بیا مهدی. صلوات.
خب با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم آقای عباسی، At this point, we have one person from sister side as well. Sister Afzali has prepared also a poem. I ask her to come to podium and present you and read you the poem that she has prepared. For the health of all our representatives, please say aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
با هم 3 مرتبه برای بیعت با آقای امام زمان لبیک یا مهدی میگویم. ماه دلارام از کنار کعبه آن ماه دلارام میرسد، محض دیدارش چه بی صبرانه عیسی میرسد. میرسد به گوش تا صوت ان المهدی سری، 300 و چندین نفر دل داده در جا میرسد. عاقبت در جمعه جذاب میپیچد خبر، آخرین معشوق والا منصب ما میرسد. مصحف و نج البلاغه بعد قرآن کریم، سوره نور و قصص طاها و اسرا میرسد. محضرش تقدیم خواهد شد زمین و آسمان، هدیه خیل ملک از عرش اعلا میرسد. عشق مادر دارد و با شیعیانش در بقی، قبل هر کاری کار قبر زهرا میرسد. جرعه جرعه لحظه دیدار نزدیک است و خوب، ندبه و عهد و فرج دارد به دریا میرسد. پس بگو لبیک یا مهدی توی تو امتش، دستایت را ببر بالا برای بیعتش، دستایت را ببر بالا برای بیعتش. لبیک یا مهدی، لبیک یا مهدی، لبیک یا مهدی. صلوات.
خب با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از خانم افضلی و از شعر زیبایشان. At this point we are done with our presenters. We will go over our regular announcements and we will have Ajaga Mudarris' speech inshallah. Please see Ajziya Amili and Brother Said Razak for your monthly donations. For whatever reason, if you're behind with your monthly pledges, if you can bring it up to date now, that would be greatly appreciated. All of your expenses that are making this place, our masjid, for maintenance of this place is coming from your donation, so we need those in order to pay for the utilities and for maintenance of our masjid. So please make sure that you're up to date with your monthly pledges. Also, as a reminder, every night that masjid is preparing food and serving food. That costs about $700. If you can sponsor for the whole thing, that would be great. If not, any amount towards that $700 also would be greatly appreciated. So please make sure that if you're paying that money to Hajia Yamili, or Brother Said Razak mentioned that this money is supposed to be spent on food, and they will record those transactions accordingly. As the last reminder, Haji Yasin Amili last week mentioned that one of our Sayyid brothers in city of Kabul in Afghanistan is in need of kidney transplant. His son came back as match for him, so he has a donated person, but the cost of doing the transplant is about $12,000. So far, from last week until now, $7,000 has been collected. If you're still interested to help this Sayyid brother, please see Hajia Yamili or Brother Haji Yasin Yamili, Haji Agha, or myself. And if you would like to help this brother, you still have a chance. So again, this person in Kabul is in need of a kidney transplant. His son is donating his kidney, but the expenses is only about $12,000. So if you can help them, please see me or Haji Agha or Haji Yasin Amili, or even Haji Zia Amili as well. With that being said, we'll go and have Haji Mudarris' speech, inshallah. The topic of tonight's speech is Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam's contribution to Islamic, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam's contribution to Islamic scholarship. میریم و از محضر حجت الاسلام و المسلمین آقای مدرس استفاده میکنیم. سر سلامتی خودتان واجه آقای مدرس. صلوات محمد.
يا علي از پایین بفرمایید. تشکر. تشکر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Sunday, 8th of Rabiul Awwal marks the anniversary of the martyrdom and shahada of our 11th Imam, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. For the honor of Imam al-Askari and his son, Imam of our time, and hastening his reappearance, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. روحي وأرواحنا وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our souls and illuminate our hearts by the light of Iman and guidance and the love of Prophet and his family. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, his name is Al-Hasan. And he was born in the year 232 after Hijrah. And for 22 years he lived by the side of his father, Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi salam. And at the age of 22, after his father was martyred and poisoned, he was the one who was assigned to be the next Imam and the next leader and divine Hujjah and the proof of Allah. And his leadership and Imamat took 6 years. And at the age of 28, he was also poisoned and martyred, as I mentioned, on the 8th of Rabiul Awwal. And when we look at the life of the Imams alayhi salam, there is one thing, maybe there is something to reflect upon, and that is from the 7th Imam. So an exception in the case of the life of the Ahlul Bayt are Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, which they lived in a transition time. Bani Umayyah were falling, losing power. Bani Abbas slowly gaining territory and power. And this was a time that Imam Baqir alayhi salam, Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam, their imamat is more than 10 years, more than a decade. Our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar As-Sadiq alayhi salam, which we have many traditions from him, his imamat was 34 years. His imamat, the length of his imamat. And imagine, Imam Askari salam's life is only 28. It means from the moment he became Imam and he got martyred, only 6 years. So after Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, his father, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, his imamate is also similar, 34 and 35 years. But the difference is that this time, his leadership is mostly under constant surveillance and pressure of the Abbasid rulers, especially Harun. And he spent more than a decade of his life in prison. And even when he's not in prison, he's constantly being watched. And from Imam al-Qadhi onward, we see that the length of the imamat of every imam, from the moment they become an imam to the moment they get martyred and poisoned, it gets shorter. As if that the ruler recognizes that their existence is a threat. So they're looking for an opportunity to get rid of them. So when you look at the imamat of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam, for example, his imamat is 20 years. So from 34 years, it becomes 20 years. And his Imam Rida, we know that Ma'mun, at least on the surface, was last night. Khair inshallah. What a better reason to recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala. Inshallah, until they give me the mic, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you. Inshallah, until we're able to go back to the topic. Once again, remember, one of the great way to clear our hearts from nifaq and hypocrisy, we have in a narration, that is to recite as often, as much as you can, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Imam Al-Askari salam, when you come to the life of these Imams, as I said, I know people that sometimes were understanding of the life of the Ahlul Bayt is not as much. And why is that? Because I notice there is this shift in the depth of understanding. That's why the topic I choose for tonight was, what was the contribution of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam to Islamic scholarship? And what we mean by Islamic scholarship, right? By Islamic scholarship, we mean a proper understanding of religion. Someone who understands different aspects, different dimensions of religion, not only a superficial, very basic understanding of religion. That is usually offered, in Islamic terminology, we refer to them as faqih. Faqih. Who is a faqih? The one who is a jurist, we would translate in English, but is ultimately somebody who understands religion. They understand Quran, they understand hadith and narration, they understand different all I need is the tip of my finger, hadith, right? There is a good website, I think it's called Academy of Islam, hadith database. They have all these different books in one place. They create a hadith database. Wasail al-Shia, al-Kafi, all these books in one place. And you put a keyword in Arabic or English, and they give you, okay, this is all the result. But that doesn't make you a scholar of religion. That is access to the information. So I do not doubt that pieces in different topics. But not cover to cover, when I can listen to a video from my knowledge is not, as Quran referred to them, the ayah I recite, وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. What is the ayah I recite? The heart is not sound, is not healthy. Their soul, it's mixed with darkness, with their sins, with their desires. Means their judgment is not clear. Zayg of the heart, deviance of the heart, meaning the soul is ill and sick because of disobedience and sin. What they do? فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ ابْتِغَاءَ الْفِتْنَةِ وَابْتِغَاءَ تَأْوِيلِهِ. What they do is that they pursue what is metaphorical in it, courting temptation and seeking its interpretation. In other words, they translate Quran the way they like. So look, Quran, it says what I like. They ignore every other straightforward command of Allah in the Quran. They said, oh, this ayah, because it has it's still, they have something, they have some roots, but it's not strong enough. An easy amount of force is going to remove them. Not that kind of superficial knowledge. The knowledge that is firmly grounded. What they do, they are the one who know the interpretation. يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِهِ. They say we have faith in this. They have iman. كُلٌّ مِّنْ عِنْدِ رَبِّنَا. All of it is from Allah. In other words, they do not cherry pick Quran. They don't say, I like this ayah and I ignore this ayah and I go with this and ignore the other. They take the whole thing as a package. Kullun, all of it, entirety of it is from our Lord. This is the one. You know, the sad part is that people don't know enough about Quran. If they would have known enough about Quran, so many things would have been much easier to understand. Because we heard pieces. Oh, somebody said they know the tafsir of Quran. For example, when we, for example, talk about history, we talk about what happened in history, and when we talk about a specific believers, we should not talk about them. So, okay, what should we then do? We shouldn't dishonor them. We should not, God forbid, curse them in a sense that is going to be offensive. But we cannot deny the history. Look at the Quran. What is Surah Al-Tahrim about? An entire chapter revealed because of the mistake of Prophet's wives. If you know Quran, Quran talks about them. Allah criticized them. Allah also talks about other prophets' wife as well. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. So for the people, we made an example. If you want somebody to know an example of not to fall into that kind of path, the wife of Nuh alayhi salam is an example of how corrupt she became. So read Quran. We cannot say, I like ayah Ummul Mu'mineen, I like this ayah, just one ayah, mother of the believers, and ignore the rest. Kullun min 'indi rabbina. All of it is from Allah. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. But Allah says, only those who possess intellect, those who are wise enough, those who are using the gift of aql and reason, they are the one who will be reminded. They will benefit from it. So, superficial understanding of religion is not doing justice. And our time, unfortunately, is pushing us toward that direction. You know, sometimes mashallah, I'm proud and amazed to some of our youth when they talk about any subject. Mashallah, they know a lot about business and finance. They know a lot about biology. They know about health and when it comes nutrition. So they're a piece of everything. There are a small amount of nutritionists in them. There is a small amount of businessmen and entrepreneur in them. There is a small amount of a scientist in them. They have, pieces here and there. With deen, in order to become an expert of deen, that doesn't work. Because I know one hadith, one ayah, it doesn't make me an expert of it. Because the moment we do cherry picking of religion, I created a version of religion that works for me. And that is a dangerous path. Someone says, I kiss Quran, I have a Quran with me. But at the same time, I know what Quran says about certain rules. But the way I believe in Allah, Allah loves me, Allah is in my heart, that's it. So you go to the ruling and said, for example, about alcohol, right? The ruling is, this is something that it's not, disputed by majority. Majority of Muslims and scholars agree on it, that carrying, selling, serving alcohol is haram, is forbidden. But some people, they have their own version. Say, as long as I don't drink it, it's okay. It's not my problem. It's okay for them to drink it. Why should I be the one in trouble? I'm just a driver. I'm just a server. I'm just selling it. So I still am a Muslim. I still believe, of course they are Muslim. They're not going to leave the realm of Islam. But the issue with it is that imagine if they were living in the time of Prophet and Prophet would tell them the same thing. Said, okay, you're a Muslim, you believe in God, you believe in Quran. Now I'm telling you as a Muslim, you should stay away from this. So I believe in the other stuff you just taught us, not this one. They were people like this. Tha'lab is a story I mentioned before. Tha'lab was a Prophet companion, Sahabi. He used to live in Medina. Financially, was not doing well. He used to come to Salat with the Jama'ah, for congregation, to the Prophet's mosque quite as often, almost every day. And he would ask Prophet to make prayer for him that Allah increase his wealth, give him more. And Prophet would make dua, Ya Allah, if there is khair and good in increasing the wealth of Tha'lab, Ya Allah, give him more. Give him more. But we said, now, can you make a specific dua just to ask him, give me more? I'll be good. It's khair for me. I'm struggling here. Just ask Allah to give me more. But Prophet was very patient. Said, okay, again, I still do dua for you, but this is it. Trust Allah. Tawakkul. Trust Him. What's best for you, He knows. Sometimes to have or not to have, you try. You don't abandon, the struggle. You struggle, you do your best, but sometimes no matter how much you try, you don't get to a certain thing. And you should understand that's it. There is a meaning for it. There is a purpose. It's not to justify laziness and doing nothing. It's to say that sometimes, even if you struggle, even if you are doing your hard work and 100%, you're chasing after something, sometimes you don't get to it. You really want to marry someone. You do everything right. Doesn't happen. Trust Allah. There is a khair in it. Do your part, and the rest that is not in your control, trust Him. So Rasulullah told Tha'lab, this companion, trust Allah. But he was coming over and over to Prophet. Said, make dua to him. And eventually the Prophet said, Ya Allah, give him what he wants. Because he doesn't ask me to do dua for him. He wants me to ask this. So Ya Allah, give him what he wants. And we have that he received a huge inheritance. Somebody from his family passed away. He had no other family. All the inheritance came to him. Suddenly, overnight he became rich, wealthy. To the point that he wasn't able to find not big enough property in Medina, that he was forced to move outside Medina, to the outskirt of Medina. So when he did that, he stopped showing up as much. He's busy now. He has to manage his wealth. It's fine. Again, coming to the masjid is not wajib. So worst case scenario, you're losing some extra credit, mustahab, right? Imagine you're missing out to visit Prophet of God. It's still not haram, but it's your loss, right? The issue is when Prophet sent a messenger to him, when the verses of zakat was revealed. Zakat, as we know, aqam as-salah wa atu zakat. Establish prayers and give zakat, the charity of the poor. And he is someone who is he owns a lot of animals. In some sense, he has big herds of animals, domesticated animals. He has a lot of camels and sheep and all that. So in zakat, there are mandatory portion of that food source has to go to the poor. So the messenger of the Prophet came and said, Tha'ala, Prophet of God sent me. He said, okay, Allah sent these verses. From now on, there's something called zakat. This kind of charity tax you give for the poor. And this is what he said. He said, first of all, not referring to him as Prophet of God. This is part of the history. He said, this man, referred to him by the name, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So manners matter, right? Sometimes we start disrespecting people with names, not addressing properly. No matter how close you are to your mom and dad, never, as a piece of advice, it's not haram to call them by their name, but never go to that closeness. Manners are important because that's unfortunately a gateway. Be close to them, be friends, be buddies, whatever you want to be. But names are reserved for people who are in the same level, friends. But the one who's your parent, they have that honor. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You have to honor them. Address them with respect. So this man, first thing said, this man, referring to him, he told us to pray and we did it. He told us to stop drinking and we did it. He told us to do this. Now he wants our money. Tell him no. He refused to pay zakat. And that is just for us, if somebody reject a major portion of deen, this is the whole package. It's all in or all out. Because he refused to pay zakat. He said, not, okay, I'm going to pay later or, now. No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. It undermined the entire concept of faith and deen. So let's go back to Imam Askari alayhi salam's time. Imam Askari alayhi salam lives in a time, as I said, only 6 years of imamate. Please learn about them because every year we have these anniversaries and people say, why we do so many shahadat and so many celebrations? Because one thing is that these are the only excuses we find to talk about them. Otherwise, we usually, there's so many other topics. In Ramadan, we talk about Ramadan. And, Eid, we talk about every other event. These are the events we can learn from them. And they put the most precious thing they had in line for the sake of Allah, and that was their lives. They put their life in line. Let me tell you about Imam Askari salam. How tough was his time? To the point that he would write letters to his companions and said, today you see me, I'll be accompanied by some people around me. Usually there were soldiers taking him to the caliph to visit him. And Imam would tell them, today when you see me, lam tusallim. Do not say salam to me. Don't even say salam to me. Don't let in any way be recognized that you are in connection with me, because then you will be in trouble. This is how much he cared. To write letters to his ashab and companions, do not say salam to me. This is how much sacrifice you have to make. Imagine what kind of life you have to live. 6 years of Imamate, how he communicated with people. Most of the narrations we have from Imam Al-Askari are in written form, because he couldn't talk. Imagine if you want to talk, there's so many spies sitting and they're looking for a way to put you or somebody else in trouble. So Imam would send letters. One example is one companion said, Imam alayhi salam gave me a cane, asa, to take it to someone. And on my way I was negligent and I hit the cane to something and it broke, and I saw letters falling out of the cane. There were letters of Imam Askari to his ashab. You have to be discreet. 6 years of imamah like this. What he did, he had representatives. He had certain companions who were the point of contact with the Imam alayhi salam. If you look at Imam of our time, there is ghaybat al-sughra, there's short occultation and there's long occultation. During the short occultation, Imam had representative, a specific representative. In the long occultation, that's not anymore. Nobody can say, I was assigned directly by the Imam. Only during the ghaybat al-sughra. Took around 60 years. Nawab Arba'a, the 4 representative. Some of these 4 representatives of Imam Mahdi are also representative of Imam Askari. Because I said Imam Askari was only lived for six years of Imamate. They were alive during the time of Imam of our time. So they came to following the Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Fajr Shaykh. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So what Imam Askari salam did? One thing that is very critical to know, that he taught us who to follow, what kind of scholars we should trust. This is the narration narrated from Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. Man kana min al-fuqaha, Imam Askari says, the one who is considered a jurist, a faqih, the one who understands and study religion. And Allah talks about fuqaha in the Quran in Surah Tawbah, verse 122. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ لِيَنْفِرُوا كَافَّةً فَلَوْلَا نَفَرَ مِنْ كُلِّ فِرْقَةٍ طَائِفَةٌ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ. Surah Tawbah, verse 122. The occasional revelation is about the Battle of Badr. Battle of Badr was the first battle between Muslims and the pagans. And this is 2nd or 3rd year after Hijrah. All the battles that took place were in Medina. When Prophet came to Medina, the pagans and the idol worshippers of Mecca didn't leave him alone. They came after him. They were looking for a way to destroy this message at the beginning. So Battle of Badr is the first battle. And at the time, because the number of Muslims was so small, for example, Battle of Badr, how many were the companions of the Prophet, the soldiers? 313, the same number that we believe in the elite companion of Imam of our time. It's beauty in this. For the elderly. Everybody else has to go. This ayah was revealed to talk about that there is an essential also to have people who can educate others. It's not a matter of survival, but it's also, okay, you survive this, is about educating people. So the ayah says, وَمَا كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ لِيَنْفِرُوا كَافَّةً. Yet it is not for the faithful to go forth in masses. In mass, right? All of them going at once. فَلَوْلَا نَفَرَ مِنْ كُلِّ فِرْقَةٍ مِّنْهُمْ طَائِفَةٌ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ. But why should not there a group from each of their sections go forth to become learned in religion, to become well versed in religion, to become a faqih in religion? Yet because a prophet cannot go everywhere, so he would send some of his ashab to different tribes to teach them. Or one of the tribes, one member comes to the prophet to learn and go back to his own tribe. إِذَا رَجَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ. To warn their people when they return to them, so that they may be beware. So this tafaqquh was a responsibility that Allah said is on some people. It's not that everybody have that ability. Like every other responsibility, there are people need to take the responsibility. We don't need all doctors, right? We don't need everybody to be engineers. We don't need everybody to be something. We need experts in every field. And when it comes to the deen, Allah said is the same. That there should be someone who go and لِيَتَفَقَّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. This is from the Quran. It's a responsibility. So in time of Imam Askari alayhi salam is the same concept. Because there are all these fake leaders popping up, including Imam Askari's brother, his own brother Ja'far, son of Imam al-Hadi. He's the one who is cooperating with the Abbasid rulers against his own brother. وَكَانَ مِنَ الْفُقَهَا. The one who studied religion, the one who are well versed in religion, right? The jurist. صَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ. They should have certain qualities in order to be able to trust them, to get your religion from them. Number one is صَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ. They should be someone who are capable of holding themselves accountable, protecting themselves against sin. صَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ. You cannot be someone who be the knowledgeable of the universe, but in amal, in action, you don't practice it. You talk about how wrong it is to drink, and then you drink yourself. It doesn't make, nobody cares how many books you authored. Faqih has to be صَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ. The jurist has to be the one who stuff from himself. Number one. Number two, حَافِظًا لِدِينِهِ. He protects the religion. You protect your nafs, your desires. خَالِفًا عَلَى هَوَى. So three things, all of them are kind of, you have self-control. حَافِظًا عَلَى دِينِهِ. You protect your religion. And the third one, مُخَالِفًا عَلَى هَوَى. You go against your own lowly desires. You don't let your desires, your ego control you. You go against it. You mukhalif. You oppose your hawa, your desires. مُطِيعًا لِأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ. This person is obedient to the command of his master. They're not looking what the king wants. They don't look at what the community wants to say. Who's paying me? I'm going to say what they like me to say. Who is in charge? No. They are obedient to the command of the master. And the ultimate master is Allahu Mawla. Allah is the master. They're obedient to Allah's command. And of course, subsequently, they're obedient to the command of the Prophet and the Ahlul. That's how it is. They don't care who is the one compensating them. They don't care who's the one putting them under pressure. Their ita'at and obedience is to Allah. مُطِيعًا لِأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ. They're not like the time of Bani Umayyah, that they look at, okay, Muawiyah tell me to give this fatwa, okay. Yazid tell me to say that, okay. What people wants me to say, I say that. What Allah wants me to say. مُطِيعًا لِأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ. فَلِلْعَوَامِ أَنْ يُقَلِّدُوا. This jurist, this scholar of religion, لِلْعَوَامِ. Awam means average people, the common man, the one who has no time or no ability to go study religion himself or herself. Then you go follow this faqih. You go follow this scholar. And this is, I mentioned, this is the most logical you can find. I know that a lot of us, we like to say, oh, it doesn't make sense. How is possible? But what? The first choice is go become a faqih yourself. Go study religion and become an expert, not superficial. Not that I know few points and that's enough. If you have time, if you have the ability, bismillah. Go become a scholar of religion yourself. That is the first. Not only you benefit, other people will benefit from you, inshallah, as well. But if you don't want it because you have a different career path, you don't have the time. Yes, in the extra time, I can read this book and read that book and listen to that lecture, but it's not something that I can devote myself to. Then, like everything else in life, we follow an expert. This is no exception. And this is not a matter that we follow them in definitive matters. And straightforward, we don't need taqlid. Go ahead, bismillah. To say the truth, say the truth. You don't need a mujtahid to tell you. To don't betray people's trust and be trustworthy and be kind. You don't need a fatwa and ruling for it. When do you need it? When there are mutashabihat. When there are matters that they're not as straightforward. They're not as clear. It's a matter of life and death. I give you an example. This is a struggle of ulama right now. When it comes to life support, can I remove life support from someone who's brain dead? Yes or no? It's not an easy decision. Somebody has a heartbeat, but they are brain dead. Is it okay to just let them die or not? There are maraj like Said Sistani said, no, it's not. As long as somebody heartbeat, doesn't matter if doctors say this person doesn't have quality of life, they're in a vegetative state. Life is a gift of God. You cannot stop it. You cannot be a culprit in that. If it happens on its own, that's out of your control. But you cannot say, oh, they're suffering. Let me put them out of their misery. Can you make a fatwa on that to decide on someone's life? Bismillah. Do you have expertise to make a ruling and judgment on that? Bismillah. I don't. When people call me, I just had a conversation with people, unfortunately. They have their loved one in life support. All I can say, this is the ruling. Allahu alam, Allah knows best, but this is the ruling. I cannot tell you what I think, because the moment I say what I think, I'm putting that on myself, that I'm the one telling you what to do. So in summary, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says there are definitive and there are metaphorical verses. Both are part of Quran, and iman in both is necessary. When it comes to the mutashabihat, we need ar-rasikhuna fil ilm. We need those knowledgeable people that their knowledge is firmly grounded. They have the expertise of it. Yes, our deen is a deen of reflection, thinking, pondering. But part of the reflection is that if I'm not an expert, I listen to the expert. I listen to the expert. COVID time, I mentioned this hundreds of times. COVID time, when the situation was very tough about the burial of people that were exposed to COVID. What Maraja said, can we bury them in a way that they don't expose other people? What if we cannot follow all the rulings of burial? I did it, the burial during that time. And what the Maraja said, follow the opinion of the expert. Do not expose yourself to threats. Follow what the experts say. Talk to the people, listen to the expert of the field. They didn't say, oh, listen to what we tell you. So this is a matter that expert of the field, microbiologists, somebody who's aware of the issue and the problem and the danger, they can tell you. And when it comes to the deen, is the same. Taqleed meaning you go with an expert. You don't have to do taqleed if you study religion yourself and become a faqih. But the same way you don't become a doctor by looking up Mayo Clinic or other website, you don't become a doctor. You don't become a doctor by ChatGPT or Google. You don't become a mujtahid by that either. You don't become a marja by that either. The difference is with a doctor, their expertise has nothing to do with what they believe in or not. A doctor can smoke and tell you, take this medication. You don't say, oh, you're smoking. You tell me not to smoke. Still, you take it, okay, as a doctor. But in matter of religion, that's not the case. A mujtahid cannot tell you, I don't practice myself, but you do. They have to have self-control. They have to go against their desire. They have to have taqwa. The knowledge alone is not enough. Because the matter of faith and religion, the scholars of religion must have taqwa and piety. They have to be the most knowledgeable, but they also have taqwa. The moment one of these conditions are lost, we're done. That person is disqualified. The most knowledgeable of all time, but it become clear, proven that they don't have taqwa. Done. They're removed from the list of consideration. They have taqwa, but God forbid, they lost, they become senile, right? They lose their mind. The old age, they, God forbid, have Alzheimer. The knowledge is now affected, right? Again, they're removed from the list. These two has to be there. And that's the most logical process to get a religion. And Imam Askari alayhi salam is the one who gifted us this process. That we're not the only people. Oh, the Imam of our time is not here, so we're just roaming around like a headless chicken, don't know what to do. No, he gave us, he set up an institution to make sure that still we can get reliable information from a reliable source. They paved the way for us. They created a system for us. May Allah by the honor of Imam Askari grant all of us the tawfiq of learning from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, all of them, from the all 12 Imam. Because as I mentioned, I don't claim we know enough about Prophet. There's so much that we don't know. There's so much we don't know about Imam Ali alayhi salam. There's so much we don't know about the famous names that we remember. But there's much to be learned about the Imams that unfortunately they're not remembered as they should, like Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. May Allah grant us the ziyarat of Imam al-Askari and his father Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi in the Samira, where they're both buried, this father and son buried next to each other, alongside with the wife of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, Nargis Khatun, and the sister of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, Hakima. There's multiple people buried in the city of Samira, in the ziyarat of Samira. May Allah grant us the tawfiq of visiting Samira and be worthy of the shafa'ah and intercession of the Ahlul Bayt, especially Imam al-Askari, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's say salam to Imam al-Askari from here. Remember that Imam al-Askari is also gharib. And I mentioned gharib is someone who is not in his city, in his home, in his hometown, in his watan. The watan of Imams of Ahlul Bayt is Medina. That's where their city is. This is where they lived. This is where their forefathers lived in, right? But Imam al-Askari alayhi salam lives in Samira. A gharib Imam who was gharib in his time. Let's say a salam to him from here, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may inshallah carry the salam, convey the salam to all those who are buried by the side of Imam al-Askari, his father, his wife, his aunt, all of them inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا وجيها عند الله Abu al-Adyan is Imam al-Askari's companion. He said, I came to Imam al-Askari and it was evident that Imam is fighting with the poison. The poison is slowly weakening his health. Remember, the poison was not in a way that just is powerful enough to kill the Imam at the same day. Sometimes it takes him a while. And Abu al-Adyan said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, what can I do? And they attempted to poison Imam al-Askari similar to his grandfather Imam al-Hasan multiple times. It wasn't just one attempt. And Imam al-Askari told them, Abu al-Adyan, people of Madain, they send letters, they have questions. I responded to their letters. Take these letters to him. Take these letters to them and make sure they receive them. And then bring back new letters, new questions that they have. Imagine you're struggling with shahada and death, and you still care about guidance of people. You're still concerned that these people have questions. So Abu al-Adyan said, I told them, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I will not disobey you. But how can I leave you like this? And Imam told them, Oh Abu al-Adyan, let me tell you, when you come back, you will hear a caller will cry and will shout that Hasan al-Askari was martyred and killed when you come back and return. And Imam is telling me of the future, that what will be facing. And Abu al-Adyan said, as I was crying, I told him, O son of the Prophet, who will be the one who lead us after you? Who will be your successors? How can we recognize the Imam after you? And Imam alayhi salam told them, there are signs for the one who will be the Imam and the leader after me. The first is the person who come to you and ask for the letters, for the new letters you brought from Madain, he will be my successor. But let me give you additional sign. The second sign is the one who will be Imam after me is the one who will pray on my body. And the third sign is that the group of people will come from Qum. And they want to see the Imam, and he will be the one who wants to receive them. These are three signs you will recognize who is the Imam after me. And Abu al-Adyan said, I went to Madain, I delivered Imam's responses and letters, and I brought new letters, and I arrived by the city of Samira. I heard a munadi, I heard a caller reciting and shouting, Wa Imama, Wa Sayyida, Wa Ghariba. If you're not aware, be aware. If you don't know, now is the time for you to mourn that Hasan al-Askari was martyred. And he said, as I was crying, I was looking for a place to go. I saw a young boy came forward and said, Oh Abu al-Adyan, give me the letters that people of Madain, our Shia, sent to you. And I delivered them to this young boy. I couldn't believe, but I waited. And it was a time of the salat on the body of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. Ja'far al-Kadhab, brother of Imam al-Askari, which we mentioned, he was a culprit in the shahada and martyrdom of Imam al-Askari. He wanted to pray. And we have that Abu al-Adyan said, I saw the same young boy, he came forward and he put his hand on the chest of his uncle and said, my uncle, go back, this is not a place for you. The one who should pray, Ana awla an usalli ala abi. I am more qualified to pray on the body of my father than you. And he was the one that his uncle became speechless, and he prayed on the body of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. And I saw him the third time when the people, a group, came from Qum to visit the Imam, and he was the one who came forward and said, come to me, tell me what you want to say, give me what you want to give, and ask me the questions you have. And that was the moment I recognized the Imam al-Hujjah, the Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, the one who was going to lead the Ummah after. Sallallahu alayka ya Sayyidi wa ya Mawlay, Ya Rasul Allah, Ya Rahmat Allah al-Wasa. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي الزكي العسكري. عزیزان، شب شهادت امام عسکری علیه السلام روز یکشنبه شهادت از امشب رو ما تجلیل میکنیم، از شهادت این امام مظلوم، امام غریبی که فقط 6 سال امامت کرد، اما وقتی خلیفه عباسی این امام رو مسموم کرد، بدنش رو زهر فرا گرفت، او لحظات آخر وصیت‌هاش رو کرد به فرزندش صاحب عزای مجلس ما، امام زمان ماست. چه وصیتی کرد آقا امام زمان؟ خودش بر بدن پدر نماز خواند، چه نمازی! اما خود آقا امام زمان فرمود در زیارت ناحیه مقدسه از جانب آقا امام زمان از برای امام حسین علیه السلام که یا جدا یا حسین، اونقدر برای تو گریه کنیم، اشک بریزیم تا به جای اشک از چشمانمون خون جاری شود. این مصیبت کمی نیست. لا یوم که یومک یا ابا عبدالله. محرم و سفر رو آمدیم، در این مجالس نشستیم، به احترام ابا عبدالله، به احترام اهل بیت نشستیم. اونهایی که توفیق داشتن گریه کردن، صداشون رو به درگاه خدا بلند کردن، از ظلمی که در حق اهل بیت رسول الله روا داشتن. اما جناب سوزه برا غربت امامی که بر بدنش 3 روز مرغان آسمان گریه کردن، وقتی آقا امام عسکری از دنیا رفت بدن رو با احترام غسل دادن، کفن کردن. امام زمان بر بدن بابا نماز خواند، بدن رو کنار بدن پدرش امام عادی دفن کردن. اما بدن ابا عبدالله 3 شبانه روز زیر آفتاب سوزان. بعضی از روایت ها میگه آخه آدم خجالت میکشه بگه این بدنی که برهنه روی زمین بی غسل و کفن افتاده بود، بعد از 3 روز آمدن قبیله بنی اسد، آمدن این بدن ها رو دفن کنن. اما هرچه نگاه کردن این بدن ها که سر در بدن ندارن، چگونه این بدن ها رو بشناسن، این قبرها رو نام بگذارن. یه وقت دیدن آقا امام سجاد رسید. ما داریم روایت داریم که تنها بر بدن امام باید امام نماز بخواند، معصوم فقط باید معصوم بر بدنش نماز بخواند. امام سجاد آمد، بدنها رو دانه دانه معرفی کرد، بدن بابا رو گذاشت داخل قبر. یه جملاتی گفت که بنی اسد هم گریه کردن. چه صدا زد، ناله زد: بابا جان حسین مظلوم غریب، از اون لحظه ای که چشم رو از جان بستی جز تاریکی و ظلمت ندیدم. از زمانی که از این دنیا رخت بربستی جان و آخرت رو نورانی کردی. چه جملاتی گفت. بدن بابا رو اونجا دفن کرد. اما جناب سوزه برا غریبی که یک کسی رو خود ابا عبدالله دفن کرد روز عاشورا، دیگر شهدا رو بنی اسد آمدن دفن کردن. اما یه شهیدی بود 6 ماهه روز عاشورا، وقتی علی اصغر روی دست ابا عبدالله تیر بر گلو نشست، خودش آمد به طرف خیمه ها، آمد یک قبر کوچکی رو با غلاف زنجیر، با غلاف شمشیر کن. خودش میگن در اونجا آقا ابا عبدالله بر بدن علی اصغرش نماز خواند، خودش با دست مبارک. بعضیا میگن آخه طفل 6 ماهه که نماز ندارد، مگه نیازی به نماز میت ندارد؟ خودش با دستان مبارکش بدن علی رو داخل عبا پوشان داخل قبر گذاشت تا خواست خاک رو بریزد روی این قبر. صدا آمد از پشت سر: یبن الزهرا یا حسین، دقیقه تأمل کن، بار دیگر صورت علی رو ببینم. این ربابی که نیامد بیرون، وقتی حتی علی به شهادت رسید نیامد، مبادا حسین چشم مادر رو ببیند. غم و غصه حسین به اندازه کافی هست، اما او لحظه آخر دلش طاقت نیاورد. حسین جان بگذار بار دیگر علی رو ببینم. الا لعنت الله علی القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Ya Allah, by the honor of Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam, hasten in return of his son, Imam of our time, Imam Sahib Al-Asr wa Zaman. Help us to be among the true followers, awaiters of the Imam of our time, Sahib Al-Asr wa Zaman. And Ya Allah, all those mistakes, all of our sins, all of our shortcomings, Ya Allah, treat us with your mercy. Treat us the way you're worthy of them, not the way that we deserve. Treat us with your mercy and fadl and rahmah. And Ya Allah, grant us the shafa'ah of Rasulullah, the intercession of the Prophet and his family in the day of judgment. And Ya Allah, bless all those who are ill, those who are sick and mareed, with your immediate shifa and healing and recovery. And all those, Ya Allah, those hands who are extended before you with their hajat, with their request and need. Ya Allah, fulfill those hajat that is for the good, for the khair of our dunya and akhirah. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات رحم الله لمن قرأ الفاتحة